Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode number 64. Hello a croeso I podcast rhif 64. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. Joining me today is Mr. Henry Lime Green Cooper.
It's my Bowser shirt. It's been on the show before. It's pooping out gold coins.
It's surprising how many people comment on how good your hoodie is on the videos these days. Considering that that footage is like, what, 2 months old now, and you're just repeating it on the daily.
Easily.
It's like, oh, nice hoodie. You didn't notice it 2 months ago when it was the same clip being used.
That's funny, but what I think is really funny at the moment is, given the negative spin Naughty Dog and Last of Us is going through at the moment with all the dodgy leaks and the copy strikes and all this, that, and the other. There's not been anyone saying, "Oh, Last of Us fanboy" or anything like that, despite wearing a Last of Us hoodie.
Yeah. So this podcast will be talking about The Last of Us Part 2, but be warned, there will be no spoiler discussion in this podcast. We are a spoiler-free channel. We have been since the start. Any of our content on Last of Us Part 2 does not include any discussion around the spoilers which have been leaked. So that been known right now, in case you're worried about that. All our commentary today will be spoiler-free because we don't know the spoilers. So that is one of the talking points today. As well as that, I will be talking about Minecraft Dungeons. I've had some time on with that. Been playing with my daughters, which is pretty fun. We'll be taking some Discord questions from the community after that. Then we have a triggered fanboy comment of the week, and then the bad dad joke of the week to finish up the show. So first up today, was this the best state of play yet? Has titled Henry, and that's what he's put here. So was it, Henry? Tell us right now, yes or no?
I think it definitely was, and obviously I am a Last of Us fanboy. So anyone who hasn't commented that, you would be right if you would to comment that. I love the. I mean, I'm definitely biased. I'll admit that now, but I think in terms of its format and structure, this is probably the best state of play, at least in my opinion. Obviously, you're open to your own. But the first few state of plays, they were kind of lackluster. They were a good little showcase of indie stuff, which is all well and good, but they didn't have anything to really sink your teeth into. No showstoppers or anything like that. Then I think they did the Ghost of Tsushima one quite recently, which was quite good. But I think this one is better because this one is structured like the first half is dev talk over the top of some cutscene stuff, some gameplay stuff, some new stuff and some old stuff, but there's a lot of old. It's not that, fresh. But it's Neil Druckmann talking through it and explaining stuff. And then the second half is pure, uncut, unnarrated gameplay. Obviously, it's still like rehearsed and practiced, and they know kind of exactly what they're doing, so it still looks good. But I think that's definitely the way to do it because it makes it feel more like that's how it's actually going to play. I liked the Ghost of Tsushima one because it showed more gameplay and whatnot, but it was very chopped up to show off, okay, here's this place, and here's this place. And that does work for showcasing a lot of different things, but I think it can make it feel a bit disjointed, and because that's not how the game plays. You're not going to be popping off between different areas.
No, it makes sense, especially for Last of Us, which is really immersive. You're supposed to feel the grit under your fingernails and that. It's that type of game. So to show it off in one big chunk, like it was, 6 or 7 minutes of solid gameplay, I don't know what it was, but it was seamless. It was transitioning from one page to the other. I mean, it was great and all, but it was showing off every single part, every single weapon and item that she could possibly get her hands on. This is Ellie, right? It was like, there's one single enemy right in front of me right here. I'll just craft a smoke bomb and throw it on on them for no reason. It's like, what? Just walk up to them and kill them. No, I need to show you this smoke bomb.
It was another example of people in the developer or whoever's playing it for the capture not picking up all of the items. Like, if there's resources, especially in The Last of Us, because you just press triangle, I think it is, and she'll stretch out her hand and get it. But you're not picking them up. Like, just pick up the stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty frustrating.
Maybe that's me being petty, but
it was a good gameplay though. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I think that of everything that they could have done and shown off with The Last of Us Part 2, because everything's under a huge amount of scrutiny now. You can imagine, they're tweeting advertisements of the game and they're disallowing the comments on Twitter. That's how bad it's got, because people are all spoiling it. People are all being really negative. So they've had to think carefully about what they're showing off here, and to just throw a shed load of awesome gameplay down to show off all the best mechanics and all the new things. I think they did right. I think people, they need to try and take the focus away from what the story is and what their agenda is, down to basically what made the first game great, which was this gameplay is awesome.
Yep, and that's the thing. The first game gets a lot of criticism for gameplay, and I've criticised it before because the shooting can feel a bit stiff. But what I did like about it was that it in terms of gameplay, is that it's rough. It's I feel like I've overused this word, but it is brutal. Especially the melee combat with Joel, because he will do damage to people, and it's rough and kind of frantic in that way. And I think this gameplay that we just saw yesterday is the natural progression of that. They've not added any massive new mechanics apart from the jump button, which is revolutionary. But I'm glad it's there. They've not reinvented the wheel or anything. They've just perfected, or at least it seems like, I haven't played it yet. It seems like they've perfected and built upon the foundation laid by the first one in all of the natural ways. There's more. Seems like there's more weapon variety. There's more options in terms of how to navigate an arena. I'm really happy that whoever played it stealthy, as stealthy as possible, because that's exactly how I would play it. And I'm really enjoying the greater focus on stealth. You're absolutely right that they just used every weapon they could possibly use. There's a bit where Ellie climbs through out of a window or something. She's on a roof or a balcony, something like that. And then there's a guy, an enemy with a dog, and she just Molotovs them. And it's so overkill. And the sound the dog makes was horrific. So if you're squeamish for that sort of thing, maybe it's not the one for you. But this might sound psychotic or weird, but I like when a game is unafraid to get really unpleasant like that.
Dirty.
Because no one likes seeing dogs hurt. Everyone loves dogs. Everyone, even people who are allergic to dogs, love dogs. They're great. So hearing one yelp like that is painful, but they're not afraid to do it.
It's good. I like that, and the same in TV shows as well. They're not afraid to kill, maim and make bloody scenes or whatever.
Why Game of Thrones was so popular.
Main characters. Kill off main characters. That's the way to success. But in terms of the gameplay, right? I think the difference between the gameplay in the first game and the second game is going to be how agile Ellie is and how well she traverses the environment. There's a big focus on being able to. I think Neil Druckmann said it in the stream, where you can just run away from them, and that's a viable option, and just get back into stealth and start approaching it like that again. Whereas it maybe wasn't an option in the first game. She's so quick, she can get over in between, underneath, and swing around and stuff, that I think that this is one of the main kind of improvements from the first game, I think. And I think the one thing that I think will have a lot of the reviewers saying that this thing is awesome is the dodge mechanic. And I think the more I see that, the more I think I cannot wait to be in front of a bad guy and see him swinging and just dodge to the side and then knife him in the I think that is going to feel so satisfying to play. It just looks amazing. That's
the thing. It's a shooter, and then it goes into the melee combat, which I really liked in the first one, because again, it's weighty and every punch connects right. But then now with this dodge mechanic, and it's the overused comparison, but all of a sudden it becomes a Dark Souls, because you can dodge and wait for the right moment. I mean, everyone compares everything to Dark Souls as soon as it's harder than fucking Mario Land. But you're absolutely right. I think that looks really interesting. Obviously, depends on how it actually plays, but the way she dodges and then disarms and stabs him with his own machete and then keeps that, I thought that was really cool. And in terms of Ellie being more agile and flexible and whatnot, it definitely seems like they've taken more than a few inspirations from their work on Uncharted, especially Uncharted 4 with the rope and swinging. I mean, it's a game they made, and the Uncharted 4 has the best traversal out of any of them. I'm undecided if it's my favourite one. It's either that or 2. But traversal in Uncharted 4 is excellent if you like climbing over and over and over again, which I did. So I feel like they're taking a lot of their different strengths in different areas and putting it into the gameplay. Not saying anything about the story right now, because there's a lot of controversy around that. Some of it accurate, some of it I don't necessarily agree with. But I'm excited to see how different she is compared to Joel. And one thing, probably my only reservation about playing as Ellie this time as opposed to Joel, because I think it's the natural progression of the story, at least in my mind, that you then take over as her, kind of passing the torch type thing. My only reservation was that Joel is bigger, he's stronger physically than Ellie. Ellie's not just a girl, but she's small, she's very petite, and it's the apocalypse. She's not really going to be hitting the gym every day, although other characters might. She still seems to have the same level of brutality as Joel, because there's a bit where I think she's got like a plank of wood or something, like a bit of 2x4 wood with a pair of scissors or knives or spikes, something on it. And she cleaves through this person's on the run. It's savage.
That's brutal. That is
and
brutal.
every headshot was a crunch, and it was nasty. I love it.
And I like where she's swimming in the water. And by the way, I think you've got notes here how that's a bit of a callback to the original, right? Where she couldn't swim, and now she can, and that's cool. And just after she gets out of the water, she confronts some enemy, and she pulls a knife on her, and she, without a split second hesitation, just knives her in the throat. And I think
she catches it and then shivs her.
Yeah, that this is the she's not as powerful and weighty as Joel, but she's got that swiftness and that lethalness. She's still got the lethalness, but she brings it because of her agility and how quick she is. And I think, killing someone split second like that without a second thought is definitely that same grit. You're not going to be missing
definitely. That. And as she was swimming, I was like, oh yeah, she can swim now, because she couldn't in the first one, and that was a thing, and Joel said he was going to teach her, and everything he does, that's lovely. But then she's swimming up behind this person before she stabs him. I'm like, bollocks. No, it's meant to be a proper stealthy game. No way does she not hear him. She's got headphones in. It's fine. Yeah. But how does she have headphones? Is she listening to a CD player? No, she's playing on a fucking PS Vita. What the hell? It's the apocalypse. I think that
I like that because it raises the question, and then it's like, we know what you're thinking, but we've got this already covered.
And I think someone pointed out that she was playing Hotline Miami because it had the Hotline Miami music on PS Vita or something. I was like, right, that's a fun little Easter egg thing and in-joke for Sony things. But how the hell is she running a PS Vita in, it's 2030 something? Because I think it's about 20 odd years jump from the apocalypse to the meat of the first game. And then this is another 5 years on from that. So how is she keeping that charged? I mean, I guess maybe they've got some batteries around.
Generators.
I just thought that was hysterical. Yeah, I mean, there is a way you could figure it out. I just thought it was hysterical.
Yeah.
Into other stuff that I was a big fan of would be how the crafting has been expanded. Now, an argument could always be made that this is all just tacked on in every modern video game, and to an extent that's true. But I think crafting in games like The Last of Us and any kind of apocalypse game, like Days Gone as well, it makes sense in the world because resources are scarce, so you've got to kind of make do with what you have. So they've seemed to have expanded that in Last of Us 2, which, again, it's the natural progression. But I really like the look of the, they call it the workbench, which was in the first one, but it was kind of just like a menu you go through and then your guns get a little bit better. This seems way more in depth and fully animated and really well fleshed out, and everything you put on is visually realized on the gun, because you see her take a scope and then attach it to the rifle, and it's all, it all looks and moves as if it should, and I really appreciate that. And it's something that Naughty Dog is really, really good at. Whether or not you like their stories or their gameplay, their animation is always second to none, and that might be because of all the crunch they go through, but it's the results do speak for themselves.
Yes, absolutely, I agree. And it is one of those games where I guess you just have to wait and play it to see how it feels to play. because it's very reminiscent of the original. The original had flaws in the gameplay, but the story was awesome. A lot of people, I don't know, I just want to play the game before I make my judgment, rather than, oh, this story is about this X, Y, and Z. Let's, it's not a movie at the end of the day. It's a game, and a game you need to play in order to judge it, in my opinion. So that's where I sit on it. And,
everyone's screaming about agendas and whatnot. You may well be right, but you haven't played it yet, so you can't say 100% for sure. I don't know if any of that came out correctly. But one point I'd like to add is that The Last of Us 1 had an agenda. Neil Druckmann himself said it, because you can call him an SJW cuck, whatever, because he is quite a left-leaning guy. But that game had an agenda of making a non-sexualized, strong female character. If you take that agenda aside, or the fact that you don't know it, Ellie is still incredibly well-written, well-acted, realized character. She's authentic and feels as close to a real person as a fictional character can really get, along with Joel as well. So just because an agenda may or may not be there, it doesn't inherently destroy the writing. If the writing is good, which it may or may not be, I haven't played it yet, if the writing is good, I don't care. If the characters are still good, it doesn't matter if they're white, black, green, yellow, fucking ultraviolet. No one gives a shit.
Alien, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, most people don't care, so long as they're good. They may not be good, we don't know yet, but they may be good, we also don't know yet.
Yeah. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Any closing thoughts on
I'm still excited.
State of play then?
I'm still excited for the game. That's definitely the way I think Sony should move forward with the state of plays.
Yeah.
I like the Ghost of Tsushima one, but I think this is there's a better balance between actual uncut gameplay and a bit of chit chat, because sometimes it's nice to have some narration explaining things.
Yeah, and if you were in any doubt whether this was the best state of play yet or not, well, Henry said it was, and that is as concrete evidence as you need on the internet these days. One person's opinion is fact. That's how the internet works. There you go. Thank you for that, Henry. We're going to move on next to the next segment, which is Minecraft Dungeons. And the main kind of talking point on this is it too damn bloody easy? Is it for kids? Rah, rah, rah. So a lot of people are saying that. So I thought I'd address that in the bulk of what I'm going to talk about.
It's a Minecraft game, though, isn't it? Like, how can you not? Okay.
Yeah, it is a Minecraft game. I'll get into that. So what is Minecraft Dungeons? Well, it's an action RPG, kind of like Diablo, but it's very, very watered down. It's not in any depth the same as Diablo at all, but it's a dungeon crawler, right? And you can team up with up to 4 player multiplayer co-op, which is couch co-op 2, which is fantastic. I played it firstly on the PC, using my Game Pass subscription on the PC, which was great. It's only like a 2.5 gigabyte download. So I got playing it on a mouse and keyboard. It's a bit dodgy though, because the controls are like you point and click rather than WASD. So that's a bit of a no-no in my book, always. So I've kind of gotten used to it. The performance was great on a PC. I played a couple of levels on it and I was like, well, I want to play co-op with my kids, because my kids are aged 8 and 11 and they love Minecraft. They play Minecraft a lot. So I was like, it's not going to happen on the PC here. I couldn't get the controllers working. So I was like, I'll buy it on the Switch, 16 quid. Let's do that. Set it up on the TV screen. We've all got Switches. We all played on the same screen using the one Switch, and we had a co-op experience with that, and it was great. And I think that's pretty much exactly what Mojang and Microsoft were aiming for, is that couch co-op experience with a family of people sitting together, playing together and having fun together, no matter whether you're 8 years old or 38, 9, whatever I am. So I think that was a home run as far as I'm concerned. I think that if you're interested in Minecraft and you got kids, definitely pick it up. In terms of the difficulty, right? So I'm going to go to a little bit of depth and difficulty, right? Each mission you play, so there's 3 difficulty levels, right? You start off, there's, where did I put my notes here? There's default, where are the 3? Oh yeah, default, adventure and apocalypse. And you've got to unlock the adventure and apocalypse. So you got to do the whole game in default, then the whole game in adventure, then you unlock apocalypse. So those are the standard difficulty modes. But every mission that you go on, and there's like 9 or 10 missions in the whole campaign, you get to choose whether you play it on the recommended difficulty, or you can scale it up, right? So your character strength might be 3, for example, and the recommended difficulty for this random mission might be character strength 5. So you might be slightly underpowered by their recommendation. However, I just, on my own, playing it on my own on PC, I cranked it up to the most difficult difficulty, and I got through it. And I think that this is because they focus, they're tailoring the game towards kids and the younger audience, that they recommend a very low strength character to take it on, because you can do it. It's really easy, even on the most difficult ones, right? But then again, later on, after a few missions, we couldn't do it as a team, as a family. We tried it on the hard, and we couldn't get through it. So I don't know, obviously it scales with the amount of people that are playing, more enemies and this and that. But I think that if you are a seasoned gamer, you should definitely go on the hardest difficulties. You shouldn't just play it through on the recommended. At least by my recommendation, you should at least double your power for the recommendation. So if you're power 5 and it's recommended like level 5, they should definitely scale it up to recommended 10 plus. Because otherwise it won't be a challenge and you'll get through it really quickly. I saw one reviewer who was like, oh, this is way too easy. I bashed through all the levels, like 15 minutes each. It doesn't take 15 minutes on the hard ones. It takes me like half an hour for each level. I've played the game for maybe 5 hours now, and I haven't done half of the levels, right? Whereas this one reviewer, I'm not going to name, got through one campaign in 3 hours. So obviously they've just blasted through, no challenge, just button mashing, getting through it. And that's not the way to play it if you're an adult, seasoned gamer. And I can guarantee you will have more fun if you crank it. That's what these ARPGs are like. Like Diablo's known for having loads and loads of difficulty set levels. You crank up the difficulty, you get better rewards, and that's like part of the balance, right? Part of the fun. So that's just what I wanted to say about the difficulty. I think that you won't, if you're a adult like me and you're used to these type of games, you know what you're doing when you're playing games. Crank up the difficulty, you'll have a better time, that's for sure. But other thoughts surrounding the game. One thing that got my girls interested, and I knew they'd like it for this reason, is that it's full of Minecraft lore. It's the Minecraft mobs, it's the Minecraft enemies, Minecraft weapons and stuff. Anyone who's familiar with Minecraft will be familiar with this, although they might not be familiar with the genre ARPG, dungeon crawler type of game. My 8-year-old loved it. My 8-year-old absolutely loves this game because obviously she knows the Minecraft world. She doesn't have to learn about new monsters, new enemies, new type of, the illagers are the evil ones. She already knows that. It's the, this is, what are them tall? I can't even remember what the name, I didn't play Minecraft that much, but she knows all about it. So she's already invested and she loved it. My 11-year-old didn't have a lot of fun with it because she didn't like dying. My 11-year-old just hates losing. So she was like, get used to that. Get good scrub, isn't it? So I played a lot with just me and my 8-year-old daughter, and we were having lots of fun. And there's not many games that you can do that, cross-generationally. I mean, I talked about a game last week, which was Fortnite. Was it week before Fortnite? That's all right. I can play that for like half an hour before I get bored. But this I could play, it's got one of those satisfying gameplay loops where it's, you find a new weapon, you find a new bit of armor, just like Diablo, and you're like, oh yeah, I want to use this now, and you're that much more powerful because of it. Yeah, so co-op's really fun. Definitely recommend it. Performance was great on a PC. It was very sluggish playing 3-player on a big 4K TV plugged into a dock, and there was three of us playing. The frame rate dropped to around 15 to 20 frames per second. That's my estimation at some points. And I'm like, this isn't good enough. This should not happen. If you're touting that it's a local 3-4 player co-op on the Switch, make sure it's optimized for it, because it wasn't ideal. And even the 11-year-olds getting twigged into like, oh, this frame rate's awful, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, well done. I'm proud of you, girl. So the core of these types of games, ARPGs, so the combat progression and the weapons, this is very simple in this game. You've got a sword, you've got a bow and arrow, and you've got three artifacts which you can change in and out. So you might have like a rocket but arrow, which is on a cooldown. You might have like a health regen artifact, which again is on the cooldown, or like a short sprint thing, and they're all on cooldowns. So it's very basic. So I think what this game is a introduction to the ARPG genre. I don't think it's anything more than that, and it's not more in depth, and I don't think it needs to be, because obviously the key demographic for this game is from teens to early adulthood. I don't think I am the key demographic, although I am having a lot of fun playing it because I do like this gameplay loop. I think if you keep that in mind, that someone like me or someone like you guys watching should probably be playing it hard to get that satisfying gameplay. And the key to the weapons and stuff and making them a little bit more customizable is the enchanting, right? So each weapon has an enchantment, has 3 enchantment slots possibility, but most of them have 1 from much as I've played. Like, obviously the better weapons have 3 enchantment slots, so every time you level up you get an enchantment point, and then you can enchant the weapon with 3 decided enchantments. So you might get extra 10% damage on the first enchantment, and then you can enchant it up to 3 tiers, so you might go to like 50% if you enchant it 3 times. But then obviously if you've got 3 enchantment slots, then you can tie that up with you might have some other effect, like it might heal you every time, which is a real good one. It's like every enemy you kill, you take 4% of their health or something and heal yourself, which is a really good one. So it's that type of customization that you can do. It again, not on any level compared to Diablo or anything like that, but it's still there. It's still that customization option, like really watered down, which is accessible for kids. So they can see the colors, they can see the 3 enchantment options, and they customize their things like that. So that's the way I'm always looking at this, is like, this isn't a game for me. It's always like, this is a game for people who aren't familiar or who want this to be easy for them, so they can enjoy this genre of game without having to look at too many stats, too many numbers, too many it's way too complicated. Like a game like Diablo, my kids would not be interested in. But after playing this game, they might want to play Diablo, because it's Minecraft Dungeons on steroids, essentially. So that's who the game's for: family gamers, newcomers to ARPGs, and people who want accessible games to play with their families. Some of the criticisms before I close off is I think they stuck too closely to the ARPG formula or genre, right? And they've got this huge lore in Minecraft, right? Which they and all these gameplay mechanics or whatever, like Minecraft's the ultimate sandbox, and they didn't use any of that. They didn't capitalize on any of those elements, like environmental manipulation, for example. That could have been easy. Build your own base or something, or any power that could allow you to manipulate the environment. You can't do any of that in this, and I think that's a missed opportunity. They looked at Diablo, a game like that, and was like, we want to make a Minecraft version of that. They stripped it of all its difficulty and made it really accessible, and then there you go, that's it. And I think they should have just added a few more Minecraft things in there just to make it a bit more unique. Should have brought something more new to the table, because what games I like are games that mix up the formulas of genres. They don't just stick to the confines of, like, this is an ARPG, so it has to play like an ARPG. They could have iterated on that and made something unique, but they didn't, and I think that was a missed opportunity. Other than that, the game is fun, but then again, I'm playing on difficult, and I do like this gameplay loop, and I love Diablo 3, and I think you take that as it is. If you didn't like Diablo, you don't like ARPGs, it's not going to be the game for you. But then again, if you're a family man like myself and you like playing with your kids, maybe go for it. And that is my thoughts on Minecraft Dungeons.
I definitely think I'll at least try to give it a go with my girlfriend, because she's not a gamer at all, and I would have liked to get her to play Diablo, but it's too much. There's all the items and numbers and all that crap, but something much more simplified like this might be more palatable. I definitely think easy games are just as valid in the industry as hard games, because the people get mad when there's the argument saying Dark Souls is too hard, Sekiro's too hard, they should make it easier. But then there's people that often the same people who defend Dark Souls then come along and say this game's too easy, they should make it harder. But I'm like, well, there's space for both of them to find their demographics. And you're absolutely right in that Minecraft is for younger kids or families or whatever, and there's absolutely a place for that. And I don't like it when people take their subjective opinion and project that onto it as if it's objectively bad. And I know you described this particular reviewer you were talking about, but I can imagine pretty much every reviewer will play it from their perspective at the level of gamer they are, and assumedly, because they're a game reviewer, they must play a lot of games, although a lot of them seem to really not know what the fuck they're talking about. Am I right, guys? Mm-hmm. But they're not necessarily looking at it from the perspective of the target audience, as you say, which would be like a kid or a newcomer or just a noob to gaming altogether. And I think it's a great little gateway. I am baffled that it doesn't include any environmental manipulation or whatever, because it's Minecraft. So is it literally just Diablo Light with a Minecraft skin? You can't break walls, you can't build anything.
No, it's exactly what it is.
That's really weird. That's really weird.
There's like one weird environmental puzzle that you've got to solve, which is like you press a couple of buttons and it just moves some like runes up and down. You got to line them all up and then you can get through to the next area. And there's like secrets on the map, so you trigger a secret area, and then a load of mobs ambush you, and then you kill them all and you get a reward. You know, there's certain nice things in the game that they've introduced, but I don't think that they've done nearly enough to make it a Minecraft game. Essentially, it looks great, it plays great, it's all got all the recognizable characters and mobs and everything from Minecraft, but it's not Minecrafty enough. I think they could have done more. But however, saying that, Minecraft is a social-based game and it's an online game you play on servers and stuff like that. I love that this is it can be a single-player game and just up to 4-player co-op. I think that if they'd have made it like a hub-type game where you're like on a server with other players and you go off, like a World of Warcraft type of MMO type of experience, I don't think I would have appreciated it as much, having to be online all the time to play that. Whereas I do appreciate that this is single player, local, and you don't need to be online.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely plan to give it a look, but who knows if I actually will. But
if you got Game Pass, then you gotta. I think you should try it out. And if you like Diablo and ARPGs, don't expect too much, because, like I said, it's watered down. But there is enough there to keep you playing and wanting to progress to the next dungeon, explore the next wing of the dungeon off the main path, just to see if you've got to open a chest to get some better bit of loot. Because it's that gameplay reward that keeps the loop engaging, I think, for me. So there you go. That is Minecraft Dungeons done. And next up, we are going to take some questions from the Discord or the Patreon supporters. And Patreon is the website, crowdfunding website, that keeps us operating, essentially. The revenue we get from YouTube is almost non-existent because YouTube likes to kill channels. That is the short and end of it. So if it wasn't for the Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, we would not be able to operate. We would there wouldn't be a channel anymore. So we'd like to thank everybody who does support us on Patreon. And if you do want to become a supporter, you can get early access to this podcast for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. And we really appreciate every single person who does make the decision to support us. And as one of the rewards, you can ask us questions for the podcast, and that's what the next section is. But first, we got to mention the new recruits this week. We've got Neil Roberts, who pledged $1. Every single dollar counts, and I really appreciate it. And people might think, oh, it's only $1. Every single dollar counts. And if everybody who watched and appreciated our content pledged just $1, we wouldn't need to ask anybody else. It's that simple. So thank you very much, Neil Roberts. Ben Geerates, I'm sorry, I just minced your surname there, increased his pledge from $5 to $10 a month. Thank you for your loyal service, sir. Dayoth pledged $2.5. Again, very, very, very grateful. Ben Lewis Borner increased the pledge from $8 to $10. Again, very, very appreciate every one of you for supporting us. Like I said, you put your money where your mouth is and you appreciate the content, so you support us. Thanks everyone who does that. with all that said, let's move on to the Discord questions this week. And Henry, would you like to take the first question?
Let's do it. Right, so the first one is from Not That Rob Lowe. We haven't posted a question for a while. Welcome back. Although we've been doing your proxy question with or without you, so you're still in our hearts. Okay, off the top of my head, there are 3 big releases left for this year that we currently know of. The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Cyberpunk 2077. You can only play one. Which and why? So we're only allowed to play Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, or Cyberpunk. Which one we're picking and why? I'm like in this exact moment right now, I'm the most excited for Last of Us 2 because it's just on the horizon. It's something I've been looking forward to for a long time. But Ghost of Tsushima is a brand new IP, but I have plenty of skepticism about what it actually is, but I'm still excited for that. Cyberpunk, I think, has arguably the biggest risk of failure because it's so hyped. Like, if it's not a 10 out of 10, people are gonna go berserk. But I think Cyberpunk is the one if I can only play one, I'd pick Cyberpunk because it's the most like sandboxy, and I can live out my role-playing experience as a, transhuman cyberpunk chick with
Don't say the word
arms.
Trans, man. We'll get don't say trans, we'll get
transhuman. It's literally what cyberpunk fiction is all about. It's transhuman.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think The Last of Us 2, I know what to expect, and I know I'm going to enjoy that. I am a fanboy. I'm the same as Henry. I love The Last of Us. So I'm going to love The Last of Us Part 2 because I can see it. I can watch the gameplay and I can see this is a game that I will love. Ghost of Tsushima, I'm a bit more skeptical about, but the reason why I would play Cyberpunk 2077 is the only one. It's the one I would choose if I could only choose one, is because I don't know what to expect. I played The Witcher, right? And I've a few times, and I do like playing the game, but not enough to keep me going. I think there's a certain reason why I just don't connect with that IP as much as a lot of people. But I recognise the brilliance of what they've made in that game, and I do love that it exists and that it holds the best standards throughout the industry for what you get for your money in terms of expansion packs, and like the game is 60 hours long plus whatever, you can play it multiple times. I think Cyberpunk is one unknown entity, right? It's got this magical, this awesome creative team behind it, and still I haven't connected truly in my heart with any of their previous games, and I want this to be the one that I do connect with. I love the setting, I love what they're going for, first person, sticking to the guns, I love it. And I think that this game could be really, really special, but there's just that curiosity there. Is it going to have the same effect on me as The Witcher did? So I'm still undecided. So I can't wait to get my hands on it for that reason. And that's the reason why, because it's just so much is unknown. New IP, and we don't know whether it's going to be good or just shit. I mean, nobody knows at this point. I mean. Yeah. It feels weird to say that because everyone expects so much from CD Projekt Red, but Cyberpunk might be shit. Deal with it.
It could be. And you know what? If it is shit, nothing happens. Life goes on. Same with The Last of Us. If it is shit, we'll say it's shit and we'll move on with our day.
That is very true. Thanks for the question, Mr. Not That Rob Lowe. Next up, White Wolf. Podcast question for next week. What are the strangest glitches, bugs, or design experiences you've ever had in a video game? And what was the bug or experience? So he said mine would be design experience, Max Payne, where you're walking along brain synapses and it's so easy to fall off and it takes ages to get up and round to the end. That was a bitch, but it was fun because I think it was a really dark, like psychosis type of level that games don't often do that, and I think that the games that depict like mental problems and stuff like that I think are really good. So I liked it for that reason, although it was fucking rock hard. Bugs, glitches, he says, Skyrim. When I got to Morthal with Lydia, the house call, and we got out of the alchemist's house, she literally had no head and her body would float around rather than walk. That's Bethesda for you. So what are the strangest glitches and bugs or design experience? Can I just say before you go, right? The worst design decision on any game ever is push and hold to interact. Push and hold to interact. Why do I need to push and hold? I've already pushed. Like, I've already made my decision. Like, why do I need to hold? Why? I'm not 2 years old. I can live with the consequences if I misclick. Don't make me hold everything. That's the worst. Don't ever do that in a game. If you're a budding game designer and you think about making a game in future, do not make people click and hold. It's infuriating. There you go. Got that from my chest.
I mean, you are absolutely right. I don't even have anything to counter that with. Strangest glitches, I mean, we've all had more than our fair share, and you could easily just be like, oh, the whole of every Elder Scrolls game, haha. But I think one of my favourites was a recent one. I was playing Red Dead Online with my brother. I think I've talked about it a few weeks ago. And something went wrong in the game trying to communicate that both our characters were in the same instance, in the same space. So his character was there and still, doing idle animations and stuff. He was there, but in his game, he was in a completely different place, in a completely different lobby. And I think we just attacked some little bandit camp or whatever. And there was a guy who was standing on his horse. Again, this guy was doing all his idle animations, with sitting on his horse, just kind of adjusting himself, basic stuff. So I tried to kill him, as you do. And what am I going to do in a video game? Not kill people? So I blew his head off with a shotgun. And he was still there. He was just still standing there. And I thought it was hysterical because he was just minding his own business, just like brushing his shoulders off and whatever. But he's got no head and it's all like bits of bones and neck and crap. And he's just standing in the middle of the space. It's not like he's clipped through anything. It's a fairly innocuous bug that doesn't harm anything. But it was just, I just thought it was really funny.
That was Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, Red Dead 2. Played it recently.
Just on that note, sorry to interject here, but I just want to, on that same note before you move on, I was playing Red Dead 2, the regular game recently, this week, and exactly the same thing happened, right? There was two coach riders, and I robbed them at gunpoint, blew their heads off, and they were both still in position on the coach, on the cart, and I couldn't loot them because they need to be on the ground, so you can't loot them if they're still upright. And I was like, what the is this? And the horse is still galloping away, pulling the cart. I'm like, they're both decapitated and they're just like ghosts riding this cart. That was ridiculous. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Like the headless horseman from what was it, Sleepy Hollow? Is that the one? One of the strangest, it wasn't a glitch or a bug, but strangest design experiences, but I really liked it, is in Control. And if anyone's played it, you know the exact bit I mean. You go, I think they call it the astral maze or something, and it's this corridor which loops back on itself over and over again until you get a certain item, and then you can walk through it because the illusion is broken or whatever. It's very, very Inception, and the world just folds apart, and the level contorts itself around you, and you've got to shoot enemies and stuff. It's one of the most interesting shooting experiences I've had, but it's really annoying because it's only in that bit. It's this one-off kind of gimmick sequence, which is really good. I just wish I could do that thing kind of all the time, because there's some bits where you walk into a room and the world kind of bits of concrete burst out and kind of go weird, but it's not in any form of interactivity. It doesn't change the way you interact with the level because the play space is still the same. In this maze, everything changed all the time. You didn't know is this door actually going to open, or is it going to fold apart into something else, and then I've got to actually go over there. I thought it was one of the most interesting bits of game design I've seen in a long time. And definitely strange, but not in any way bad.
Thanks for the question, Mr. White Wolf. Let's move on to the next ones. I think you're up.
Okay, next one is from Colony99. Are you teaching your daughters Welsh, Gaz? Are you? Are they speaking the proper language of the land?
Yeah, my kids speak the mother tongue, which is Welsh. They went to Welsh primary school for a number of years, so they're fluent in Welsh. And yes is the answer. Thank you, Cloney. The next question, follow up for Henry, because we appreciate Henry. Did you learn Welsh during your time in the big grass fields, or are you valiantly ignorant towards the culture? Guess we know the answer to that one, eh?
Yep. Ignorant af.
Valiantly ignorant.
I mean, traveling through Wales to get to the office and stuff, you pick up some stuff like isn't a Ford with 2 F's, that's like road or street or whatever, right? It's something like
Ffordd.
That's what I said.
Ffordd. That's how you say it, yeah.
And then I think, is it Araf is something?
Araf.
That's like, is that stop or something like that?
Slow.
So
in Welsh, right, a single F is v, like a V, right? So there's no V in the Welsh alphabet. So a single F is a V, and a double F is the hard F, as we know in English. So A-R-A-F in Welsh is araf. So it's like a V.
So
that's how you pronounce it. Little tip.
So
there you go. Little nugget there for you, Henry. If you want to remain valiantly ignorant, that's up to you. However, you do know how to pronounce the word araf now.
I do. Well, think Welsh. I tease it all the time, and it's really sort of stupid. What's stupid about it is that very few people speak it, compared with how like it's all over everything. All the signs have got English and Welsh. But I think it's important to preserve stuff like that. I mean, you don't want, just because no one speaks it doesn't mean that it should be left.
You'd be surprised how many people do speak it. You're probably not exposed to a lot of people who do speak it, and now I'm exposed to more people who speak it in Denby here because I mill about the shops and stuff, and I can hear it all the time. There's some shops which are just Welsh. Like you walk in, the person is proper. You can tell that they hardly ever speak English. There's those shops there, and the more you go into Wales, the more that Welsh is just the prominent language. So I think the fact that you just travel every day and don't really go into a lot of the shops and experience the local towns and stuff, I think you don't get that exposed to that much Welsh, whereas it is here for definite.
I think it's the stereotype though that a lot of people in Wales still don't speak it because English is more dominant, so they just choose that. But yeah, I think all languages should be preserved if you can, because language is fabulous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for the questions, Mr. Cloney, and thanks for being interested in our personal lives. I really appreciate that, even though some people don't like the personal questions. I've just had a notification that we've had another awesome contributor. Mr. Thomas M. Pritchard has donated $1 to the cause. Thank you very much. We really, really appreciate that, dude. So just in case you thought we'd left you out this week, I literally 15 minutes ago just got the notification. That's when we're filming, by the way. Next question is the MHVG 1994 riddle quiz. Now, is this for me or for you?
I think it's for me. So you're reading this one.
Okay. If you just wait a second, my internet has just crapped out on me on my phone, obviously, because I need it now. And that's what internet is like in Wales. And I think we are good. So the quiz this week, so this bit of a long introduction, but it's worth it. So 2 weeks ago, I messaged Metal Shark, who is the person who's putting together the riddles the last couple of weeks, and everybody's enjoying them. So he's worked together with Metal Shark. As a result, we've put together a quiz especially for Henry. As a PhD student studying physical chemistry, the physics of chemistry, it pleases me to hear Henry speaks so highly of science and how enlightening it can be. But how much does Henry really know about science? This week, it is Henry's job to tell us whether the chemical element / compound is real or fictional. Huge thanks to Melshark for his help with this. Also be warned, there may or may not be an equal number of real and fictional compounds in this quiz because I'm just that corrosive. Good luck. So, not a riddle this week, but you've got to guess whether this is an element from a game or an element in real life. So, first one is promethium. Promethium. Promethium.
This is going to be a tough one because a lot of these fake elements, they at least try to sound like they've got a real name, unless you're an avatar and you name your element unobtainium, which I hope is in this list, but I don't think it is. It's unobtainium because it's unobtainable. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the first one, promethium. Promethium. I mean, it could be and it couldn't be. I've got nothing. I'm just gonna have to go for a guess. I'm gonna say no. It's not real.
It is real. It's element 61. It's icon element PM So it's a radioactive element used in button-sized atomic batteries powering equipment such as pacemakers and guided missiles. 0 for 1. Next up, bavarium. Bavarium. Is that real or is it from a game?
I think
Bavarium.
that one's fake. I'm going to go fake.
It's from Just Cause 3 and 4. Like everything in Just Cause, this element is highly explosive and considered the next level of uranium. Next up, green titanite. Green titanite. Titanite. Real or fake from a game?
I feel like titanite sounds like it could be something real, and I don't see why there wouldn't be a green version. But why would that be its chemical name? Maybe it's got another chemical name. But screw it, I'm going to go for real.
It is from Dark Souls. Found in some of the nastier areas in Lordran. Can be used to upgrade weapons and armor's divine magic and fire stats. That's 1, 4, 3. Next up, iridium. Iridium. Iridium.
I think iridium is real.
Absolutely. This is the one I knew. Definitely is real. Element number 77. The icon is IR. This metal is unusually resistant to corrosion, making it very versatile. Hence, it is used for components such as fountain pens, nibs, to aeroplane parts. Also used for soldering silicon to copper heat sinks.
So
next up,
iridium, I think the only reason I know that's real is that I'm playing Mass Effect 2 at the moment, it's one of the elements you can mine from different planets. So
there you go. Next up,
that's no reason for it to really be real, but
yeah, it's from a game too, so that could count as both. But
it's a science fiction game.
Fundamentally real. Next up, iridium. So ERIDIUM, iridium. Now, is that real or from a game?
I'm gonna go that it's fictional.
It is fictional from Borderlands. Released onto Pandora when the Vault Hunters opened the vault, it is used as an alternate currency for the black market and can be obtained from you guessed it, in-game slot machines. In-game slot machines, among other places. Sirens use it as a source of power, hence its value. So you have 3 out of 5, I believe. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Next up, Aqua Regia, R-E-G-I-A, Aqua Regia, Aqua Regia.
I'm going to say it's fake.
It is real. A particularly nasty acid made from a mixture of nitric and hydrochloric acids, approximately 1:3 ratio. The name was coined by alchemists due to its ability to dissolve noble metals such as gold and platinum. That's interesting. Not something you want Henry mixing for you in a bar.
Hey, I was a great bartender. I loved working in a bar. I think this one's thrown me because I was thinking that they were elements, but I just reread the question and they can be compounds as well. So
there you go.
I've
Next up,
fooled myself.
Next up, calcium equum. That's calcium EQUUM. Equum. Real or from a game?
No idea. So let's go fake.
It is fake from The Witcher, commonly referred to as horse lime. This is an alchemy ingredient found early on in the first Witcher game. There you go. 447. Next up, hexite. Hexite. Real or from a game?
I mean, hexite sounds cool, so it feels like it could be quite sci-fi, but it also sounds kind of familiar. So I'm going to go real. Why not?
It is fake from No Man's Sky. One of the special elements in No Man's Sky. An odorless an odorless mineral-rich substance with a hexagonal. Got it there in the end. Hexagonal structure. Harvested from the fecal matter of a species. The wiki entry doesn't say which species though, so I suspect that particular mining sector has already been monopolized. You have 4 out of 8. There's 2 remaining. Next up, uninium. Uninium. Ununium. I couldn't even get hexagonal, so how am I going to get this?
I've been really looking forward to you reading this one.
Ununium. Easy.
Ununium.
Is that real or is it from a game?
That's such a stupid name. Surely it has to be fictional. Surely. I mean, ununium It could maybe, but unununium.
Unununium.
No, sure, it's got to be fictional. It's got to be.
Okay, it is absolutely real. Element 111. UUU is the letters. This entry is slightly disingenuous. Unununium was renamed to Roentgengium RG in 2004, although you will still find this element listed in many older periodic tables. An element cannot be named if it is effectively doesn't exist, has not been observed. So the heaviest elements, which theoretical half-lives of fractions with theoretical half-lives of fraction of a second, are named after their atomic numbers. Hence, unununium having an atomic number of 111 being named un, which is ium, and the element with the atomic number 116 being named hexium, etc. So un in Welsh is 1. So un is 111. There you go. Shove that up your English backside and smoke it.
But it's also French and Latin.
True, but it's still Welsh. It's not English is the point I'm making, Henry. It's not English. And you only have 4 out of 9. So there. Next up. This is a great one. Arsole. 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 Is that a real element or is it from a game? Either way, it's hysterical.
Arsole. I feel like I made this joke and had this moment in school reading it in the book. I feel like it's real and I hope it's real, so I'm going to be wishfully thinking that arsehole is a real element. Come on, get me into over half. Give me 5.
It is real, and I'm sorry guys, but I don't think your experience with Welsh will help you pronounce any of these words. Well, unununium, I could have pronounced if I'd unununium. According to the American Chemical Society Molecule of the Week entry, arsole is the arsenic analog of the unsaturated 5-membered heterocycles pyrrole and phosphole. What the fuck are those words? Pure arsehole has not been isolated, but theoretical studies show that it has much less aromatic character than pyrrole. Well, that's interesting. Pure arsehole has not been isolated. Comment of the week. Brilliant.
Your arsehole has less character than pyrrole.
That was amazing. Thanks for that, Mr. MHVG1994. And Henry has a total tally this week, and Mr. Metal Shark as well for the assist, of 5 out of 10 was the score this week. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Let's move on to Mr. Rage Young Kid.
Okay, Rage Andy Kid, who is about to explain his name because we said we didn't quite understand where it came from. Why. So, Rage Andy Kid, that's my gamer tag. Ironically, my name's actually is Andrew Wilson, and a lot of people think it's a reference. No, a mate back when Call of Duty lobbies were very toxic. Are they not still really toxic? I was only a kid, the youngest of a group of friends. I was always able to make people rage quit with my banter, and my mates started calling me Rage Andy Kid. So therefore, I changed my gamer tag, and so it has remained. A legacy of the past. Excellent. I love a good gamer tag story if it's got an interesting anecdote behind it.
Backstory.
Okay, the actual question. Okay, we all have games we love with a guilty pleasure game. We all have games we love. We all have games, we love them, with a guilty pleasure games that we think we should not like, but do. What's yours and why? Okay, so what's our guilty pleasure game?
Yeah.
I don't really believe in guilty pleasures because I'm not guilty about anything I like. If you like it, you like it. But if I want a game I like that perhaps I shouldn't, I don't know. I like good games, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let me take this first thing. I definitely have a guilty pleasure game, and that is Hearthstone. I think card games are generally quite pants, but the amount of time I play Hearthstone Battlegrounds, it's just like Battlegrounds. There's no meta game to it. You just jump in. You don't have to forge your packs or anything like that, and think about that. You just go into it and play, right? And so far, I have played maybe even 1,000 games. Yeah, maybe about 600 or 700 games. I've placed first 169 times. I've won 169 games of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and they take about half an hour to win. So let that be known that I've played around 800 games of Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and they're probably like 20 to 30 minutes each. I play every single day. It is my guilty pleasure. I'm not going to try and condone it any more than that.
I just don't feel guilty about any games I like. But if we want to go on a similar note,
I mean, I think the definition is a game that, a mature and experienced gaming community might frown upon, right? If you're a hardcore gamer, you might frown upon this game because it's a basic game, or it's a simple game, or it wouldn't get you a lot of kudos with your gaming mates, basically, right? So that would be a guilty pleasure.
But I just can't think of any. I think most of the games I like, unless it's like an underrated thing, but I wouldn't really say that's that much of a guilty pleasure. Like, I think Assassin's Creed Syndicate is really underrated. It's not amazing at all, but it's a solid Assassin's Creed game, like doing what Assassin's Creed does. But I think if we go on a similar line, like I don't really do it anymore, but I used to play Angry Birds all the time, especially the Star Wars one, and that's partly because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But the Star Wars version of Angry Birds is infinitely better than the normal one because everyone gets cool powers. They like the normal one, you fling the red bird and he smashes stuff. Okay, you fling the black one and he explodes. That's cool. Or the yellow one can do a dash. The Star Wars one is way cooler. The red one now also gets a lightsaber which can deflect blasts. The black one now is Ben Kenobi and you can use the Force, so you hit stuff and then you can use the Force. So it's basically an explosion in a direction. That's way better. The yellow one is now Han Solo and he can shoot stuff while in midair. That's basically giving you the ability of the dash, but again, you can point it in a direction. It's so much better.
No, I agree
so
with that.
yeah, okay, I'll give you that as my guilty pleasure, but I'm not guilty about it. I think it's just a really good game.
Any mobile game is a guilty pleasure, and I used to.
I think that's fair.
I used to play. What's the fucking Jules one where you match the three and then Candy Crush. I played loads of Candy Crush. I'm over level 1,000 on it. I haven't played it for years now, but that used to be my guilty pleasure until I've casually gone over to Hearthstone Battlegrounds now. But thanks for the question, Rage Andy Kid. And next up, Metal Shark's question. Had a lot of fun playing Florida Simulator Maneater. If there was ever a sequel, you would prefer it went in the direction of expanding your journey as a shark, gaining access to oceans, other cities, etc., or changing species such as being a python released into a city surviving in the sewer networks, moving your diet from rats to pets, then humans, or saltwater crocodile in Singapore, etc. Did I read that right? If there was ever a sequel, would you prefer it went in the direction of either expanding your journey as a shark, gaining access to oceans, to cities, changing species such as being a python released into the city surviving in the sewer networks, or moving from your diet from rats to pets, then humans, or a saltwater crocodile in Singapore, etc.? P.S. Riddles return next week with an easier set for Gaz.
Why does he get the easy ones?
Because mine was rock hard last week.
It was hard.
I got one. I got one last week or something.
So the sequel to Maneater, you can either carry on the role-playing experience, if you want to call it that, of being a shark, or change it to be another type of man-eater, like a giant snake. I think Man-Eater's great fun. That's the kind of thing that maybe could be a guilty pleasure, I suppose, because it's stupid, dumb fun, like popcorn action movie type thing. But I'm not guilty about it at all. I think a lot of people are quite enjoying it for that same reason. I think I'd quite like to carry on being a shark, and like give the option to be other species of shark. Like the coolest looking shark is obviously the hammerhead shark, and the game towards the end, especially when you unlock new evolutions, you can be proper monstrous. So if you could be a hammerhead shark and your whole head is like a giant spike or something, that sounds like great fun. But at the same time, being another predator would be cool. I don't think I'd want to be a snake. I don't think that would be that interesting. I think I'd rather be like a Godzilla type giant monster. Just reaping havoc over the city. Like I think I talked about it a few months ago when I was playing Dreams. One of my favorite Dreams creations is basically a Godzilla game, and you just batter a city, and that's exactly what I like. So if you give me a good Godzilla game with good destruction. And and good eating people, or maybe something a little smaller like a T-Rex or something, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Thanks very much, Mr. Metal Shark. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions remaining, and Tino is next.
Yeah, we're going to have to try and zip through these. I've not asked a question since being traumatized last time when you both made fun of me for my first platinum trophy being Monopoly. At least I have one, Gaz.
That is a guilty pleasure game.
That's definitely a guilty pleasure game. I've overcome my trauma by getting my latest platinum trophy for Civilization 6.
Wow.
I know I'm not the best gamer, but I would say I'm pretty good. Anyway, on to the question. Do you have a game that you love that most people would ridicule you for? I think this is, again, similar to a guilty pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, this is a very similar question. So I think, the same applies. It's like Hearthstone or any game that you get ridiculed for. But, I mean, I don't think... All depends on who your mates are, essentially. I mean, if your mates with a casual bunch, then playing Fortnite's not going to be... But if your mates with like a bunch of hardcore gamers, a bunch of snobs, right? And I've known a bunch of gaming snobs in the past, that's for sure. I think that playing Fortnite might constitute that, but I don't know.
That's exactly it. It's snobbery, and it just depends on what group you're in. Because I just don't give a shit about any sort of elitism or whatever. Going back to the thing about Minecraft being too easy. If it's too easy for you, it's fine. Don't play it. Play something else. Play a harder game. But don't ridicule people because they do want to play something easy. Just live and let live, man. Who cares?
There you go. Live and let live. Thanks for the question anyway, T-shirt Tinu. So sorry, we kind of already answered it. Next up, Metal Shock. If you fancied tanning while doing the day job, would you be more keen to play a AAA game in the garden on your smartphone using Project xCloud, assuming you're connected to the Wi-Fi, or on the Switch? I would play the Switch. I think I play the Switch in the garden often.
We don't have a garden, and it's quite upsetting, especially for my girlfriend. She really gets mad when people post pictures of them in their gardens or whatever. She's like, we don't have a garden, fuck off. I mainly want one so we can have a barbecue, to be honest, but such is life. I play the Switch. If I could do the same thing and get like a AAA game on the Switch rather than having to use streaming, then I'd absolutely do that. And I like the Switch. Or it doesn't even have to be like a AAA game. Give me like a really good indie,
Yeah.
Switch all the way.
There you go.
Okay, next up is Lord Crisp. I know it's been talked about a lot, but I feel the possible cause itself has never been really discussed in depth. Okay. With all the hate towards Epic Launcher and all the Steam loyalists, it seems the topic can't be debated in a normal, civil way, even though you guys have done so in the past. Oh, thank you very much. I think we are quite good at debating stuff, and a lot of people get mad about one side or the other, but we always try to at least be foster an environment
give both
like
sides of the story, even if we do fall on one side of the argument.
Do you guys think Epic would ever even get a second glance if it didn't poach exclusives? It seems to me to be the only way to actually be a competitor to Steam. Origin, Battle.net, Uplay, and such is undoubtedly installed on people's machines because of keeping their own games solely on their platforms. GOG has for a couple of years done a pretty good, nice job of their launcher, and yet, even with their super pro-consumer policies, pro-gamer policies, they're barely known outside of super nerds and DRM haters. Even now with GOG Galaxy 2.0, which I honestly like a lot better than any other platform, also feature-wise. As much as I don't like the super aggressive way Epic is doing things, personally, I don't see any other way to get real competition to the PC market, and I kinda support them for fighting for the developers to get more of a fair cut of the deal. If they didn't do the exclusives, Steam would likely still be the only real place, and Epic would just be a Fortnite launcher. I do not like the Epic launcher itself in any way, missing essential features, optimization, scrutiny, and whatever. It isn't a good platform. They should have fleshed it out before launch, or at least done so by now. But the fact they're bringing competition and better cuts for developers makes me almost want to buy a game on Epic over Steam. Almost.
I like this comment so much. This is my comment of the week. I think that you see a lot of sense, and you do give both sides of the story. You don't like Epic Games Store and the features, but you like what it stands for, and that's exactly the way I feel. And I think that a lot of people just hate Epic Store, and you don't come to our channel and watch our content if that's going to trigger you, because we're going to give a balanced side, like Lord Crisp has done here. We're going to investigate the nuances of every thing. Yeah, Epic Games Store sucks. However, competition is good for the industry. Yeah, it's featureless. However, it's given a bigger cut to developers. So there's pros and cons with everything. And I think Epic Games Store, I am grateful that it exists. Also, I'm grateful for the free games. And that's another reason why I think that it's gaining popularity. It gave away GTA 5 last week. And this week it was Civilization 6. Like, those are huge games. It's just giving them out every single week. And I think, that is another way that they are attracting its player base. And I think more and more as time goes on, like Steam was, when I first installed Steam, I was like, what is this launcher? I don't want this launcher. I used to have icons on my desktop. Click the icon, play the game. No, I can't click the icon anymore. I've got to go to Steam, open Steam, find it in my library. I remember that. It was the same type of thing as Epic's experiencing now. But people get used to it. Steam is like hailed now as one of the best things ever. And it's like, hang on a minute, it's just fancy DRM is what it is. Like, you have to log in before you access your games now. Whereas before, I could just play it on my hard drive. Anyway, that as an aside, I think you made some good points there. And I think one of the other points is the free games that they're dishing out. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, I guess the crux of your question, the question itself, is do you think Epic would ever get a glance if it didn't poach exclusives? I think no. I don't think it would, because it would just be just another launcher. You need a reason to go over. You can argue it's anti-consumer, but they need to do something to make them stand out. I'm not necessarily saying this is the best or worst way to do it, but it's something. And I firmly believe that everyone, it works. They're getting results. They're getting money. Because everyone has one game that they will bend the knee for eventually, even if it's just that one game. Like, if it's not going to happen, but if, for instance, a game like Cyberpunk went to Epic exclusively, timed or otherwise, that would draw so many people, because even though they don't care about anything else, they don't care about Metro, or I don't know, there's loads of games that are exclusive now. If they didn't care about any of those, this one game, Cyberpunk, would be the one to make them go. They wouldn't even necessarily buy anything afterwards. They're just like, right, I'll get it for Cyberpunk, I'll play that, delete it, uninstall it, just fuck it, get a new computer, get that crap away from me, because there's all these concerns about spyware and Chinese Tencent stuff. But everyone will eventually have that one game to draw them over. It's just whether or not it comes out in their lifetime, realistically. I think every single person will have one game that will make them go, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
I mean, all a launcher is for me is a way to access my games. It's not more than that. I don't have any affiliation or connection with Steam. It's just what it is. Why would anyone want connect themselves so closely? Exactly.
Loyalty to a mega corporation like that, I do not understand.
Either way, I'm double-clicking an icon.
The Xbox fanboys and the PlayStation fanboys, why are you so loyal? They're a mega corporation. They don't care about you.
It doesn't matter to me where I get my games from. Either way, I'm double-clicking on an icon to get my library and then clicking on the game and pressing play. That happens the same at Steam, and it happens the same at Epic. Those experiences are exactly the same. Yeah, there's no community. Yeah, there's no this. Yeah, there's no that. I don't faff around with that shit. I just launch the game and play. And that's exactly I do it exactly the same way on Steam as I do on Epic. Therefore, they are equal in my eyes. I know I'm very stupid for saying that, and people hopefully will leave us some bloody triggered comments this week, because we've been short of them the last few weeks. Yeah, Epic's the same as Steam. God damn it, it's exactly the same. I have the same experience in Steam. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments.
Yep, that's it. Go where the games are that you like. Go where the games are that you want to play. If you want to play on Epic, fine. If you only want to play on Steam, fine.
I've triggered somebody.
Play where you want. But if I'll try and trigger them the other way. If you don't like Steam, if you don't like Epic, you're just a Steam shill. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the question, dude, because it was very, very well thought out. It's a good question. Next up, MHVG1994 again. Do you want to read this one?
Okay, so this is our final proper question, like submitted question. Follow up from last week. Did you watch any G-Man Lives videos? So this is a recommendation from Humvg1994 from last week. I think it was something like, what reviewers do we like, or do we trust reviewers, or something? And this particular person is someone he likes. I hadn't watched him at the time, but before this I did, and he seems like a reasonable guy. He's just like a video game reviewer type YouTuber. I think he's got around 300,000 subs, so he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's Australian, I think.
I watched the Predator Hunting Grounds review because it was the most recent review which is of a game I played, and I always try and rate a reviewer on how closely their opinion aligns with mine. Therefore, if they review a game I haven't played, I know that their opinion is going to be the same as mine if I do play it. And I think, yeah, he hit a lot of good notes, and he also raised a lot of things that I hadn't considered having my time with Predator Hunting Grounds. And what I liked about him is that he threw in a lot of his opinions in there, and he wasn't shy about it. It was like, I hate this is shit. It's like, this is what we want, some character. Yeah, we understand that you don't like this, but it was comprehensive as well. He covered all. Yeah, this is great. I like this. This is shit. I don't like this, and I don't like people who are pandering for people's opinions. Like, oh, you might not like this if It's like, shoots from the hip. I don't like this. This is bollocks. This could be better. But however, this is awesome. Blah blah blah. I liked it, and I can see why he's popular. Absolutely.
I liked him how thorough he is, but I kind of disagree with you about the opinion stuff, because I think I watched Resident Evil 3 review, which is a game I don't like, and Doom Eternal, which is a game I did like. I think some of his opinions come across like stated as fact, and I think it's he can do a better job of trying to make it clear where his opinion ends, because at least that's the way I try to do it anyway.
We are reviewing of reviewers now. For those of you who are interested, we are literally the review reviewers. That's what we are.
Review section.
EGG.
All right, let's move on to the final question.
Yeah, last question. Game of the Ages from Not That Rob Lowe. So this is the recurring question every single week. We answer what was our favourite game from given year, and then plus 1 year each week after our birth. So we started out our birth. I'm all the way up to 2013. So what was my game of the year? And this game we had to have played at any point. It didn't have to be at the game played during that year. So 2013, we've talked about it a lot, but GTA 5 was my runner-up because I did like that game and I played it to completion. But my winner was obviously The Last of Us. I've mentioned how much of a big fan I am of The Last of Us. I just love that protagonist, Joel. I love being Joel. A little question raised over how fun it's going to be to play as a 19-year-old Ellie, but for The Last of Us 2. But I'm still heavily invested in that franchise, and my game of the year easily for 2013.
Okay, I ran out of games a long time ago, so I've had to move on to films, and this one's not been as difficult as some years, so this is 2003 for me. Starting with Finding Nemo, The Matrix Reloaded, which is better than people credit for. In terms of film time, that's a guilty pleasure, which I'm not guilty about at all, but loads of people hate the second and third Matrix movies. I think all three of them are great in their own way. I love that universe. School of Rock, X-Men 2, which is the best X-Men movie, and you're wrong if you think otherwise. Pirates of the Caribbean, Too Fast, Too Furious, The Last Samurai, Bruce Almighty, and Love Actually, which is the best rom-com of all time. But my favourite movie is Lord of the Rings Return of the King, because I love all the Lord of the Rings movies, and I've spoken about that at length, and we've already been going on for a long time with these questions, so I'm just going to leave it there.
There you go. What about Groundhog Day? Best rom-com of all time. Does that even get a look in for you?
I wouldn't really call it a rom-com though, because it leans way more into the comedy than romance. I think it's a comedy with romance elements, whereas I think Love Actually is the romance is
proper romance.
Yeah, the point, and it's.
I forgive you. I forgive you for your comment about that Love Actually being the best.
Groundhog Day is an excellent film, all right?
Thank you, validated. Right, let's move on. Next up, we have the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week. This was from Tarry on Henry's review of Maneater, and talking about reviewing reviewers. Tarry says, "This review is shit. You don't talk about graphical options, you don't talk about how boring the game is, and you don't even play the game for long enough to make a good review. And why the fuck are you playing on a console?" You didn't think he was a triggered fanboy, but he is a triggered fanboy. He's a fanboy of PC, obviously.
Fanboy. This person, I'm certain, has cropped up as a triggered fanboy before for the exact same reason. I've seen him comment many times, and he is the ultra PC master racer who screes about everything. So let's break it down.
Scree.
This review is shit. Okay, All right.
That's your review of the review. Accepted.
That's fine. That's your opinion. I won't dispute that. I think it's quite good, but that's my opinion. You don't talk about graphical options. And, well, let me just say there should be a comma there if we're trying to make this into a formulated... This comment is shit. It's badly formulated. I mean, come on. What's wrong with you? Don't talk about graphical options. That's because there aren't any. It's a console game. That doesn't tend to happen. I think it would be good if there were more graphical options in console games, but they're not. You can adjust brightness. Fantastic. You don't talk about how boring the game is. Well, that's your opinion. I don't think it's boring. I had a lot of fun because it's endlessly satisfying to eat people and listen to them scream. What's the next one? And you didn't even play the game for long enough to make a good review. I put up a screenshot of... Because once you finish the campaign, you get like a scorecard, which tells you how long it took, the percentages you did different areas. And that was to highlight that, it took me about 11 hours, which is not very long, and that's, it's a potential selling point or not selling point for a game. But that's not necessarily how long I played it for. That's how long the campaign took me. I played it for longer than that afterwards, but irrespective of that, I've played it for long enough to have completed the campaign and explored all of the different areas because the campaign takes you through every area. It's not like any are left out. And so there's no more game to play. I've played everything.
You're supposed to play the game 3 times before you're allowed to review it, or is one time enough? One time is not enough to play a game to be able to review it. Okay. Do I have to 100% it? Like, imagine 100% in this game probably wouldn't take that long, but then you've got to apply that principle to every game. 100% in a game like the Red Dead Redemption 2 or The Witcher or any Elder Scrolls game, it's going to take ages. Like, you never get anything done. Okay, so then why the fuck are you playing on console? Because it's the platform I have, and it's probably not going to change for a while. I mean, sorry, I guess. You should know by now, because this person has commented several times along the same lines. Yeah.
All of the PGG reviews, and you can tell what they are, because it literally says it on the thumbnail. There's a banner that says PGG review. All of them are done by me. And it's safe to assume that if I'm playing it, it's going to be on a console. And I think it's at the very top of the description, it says, review code supplied by Koch Media as a little disclaimer. And that I played it on PlayStation 4. And I acknowledged that in the video that I had performance issues, which may or may not be a case on other platforms. As I'm sorry, buddy, that you're upset that I'm playing on console, but it's probably just the way it is. Sometimes things happen that you don't like.
It's very rare that in the course of one single sentence that you can disagree with somebody so much, right? He's got 5 different points which I disagree with here. The review is shit. It's not shit. You want to back that up? I mean, you don't provide any evidence. So the review is shit. 1. You don't talk about graphical options. That's because there aren't any. Because you're against the fact that on console you don't get graphical options like you do on a PC. So that's why. So I disagree with you there. You don't talk about how boring the game is. Well, that's because Henry didn't find the game boring. So why should he talk about how boring the game is that he didn't find boring? That's the third thing I don't disagree with. You didn't even play the game for long enough. I would say completing the game is long enough. So that's the fourth point.
Hot take.
And why the fuck are you playing on a console? Why not play on a console? A lot of people play on consoles. A lot of people want to know what the console experience is like. That's 5 things in one sentence that I disagree with you with. I mean, I fail any sort of rationale with this person. This please don't leave a whole paragraph. There'd be too much to dissect out of your next comment if you did that.
One thing he said, I've just remembered, is you don't talk about how boring the game is. I made a point to stress that that's one of the game's biggest shortcomings, is that it's very repetitive. Repetitive stuff is boring, but I wasn't bored throughout the whole game because eating people is fun. It's just very... I don't get it, man. I don't get you, Tari.
Yeah,
and he comments all the time. If you don't like it, why are you still commenting? Why haven't you given up? If you don't like us, which you're more than welcome to do, we can be very unlikable. But if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't like the look of a game, don't buy it. If you don't like the look of a movie, don't watch it. It's instead of just subjecting yourself
for having opinions. Yeah,
I don't get you, Tari.
But anyway, let's move on. We are into the next section now, which is the YouTube comments of the week. Now, I have not prepared any YouTube comments this week, so therefore, I am not prepared. Do you have any comments?
I've got a few in front of me, but I'm just going to do a quick search in Page to get a little indication of the amount of it. Okay, so on my Maneater review, which I don't think any patrons seem to be aware of because no one's brought it up on Discord, but it happened, and I'm not entirely sure how, but it did. I made a bit of a boo-boo. I uploaded one originally, and then I had something I needed to change. I can't really remember what it was, so I renamed it Delete, because that way I know when I upload the correct one that I delete the incorrect one. Somehow along the way, I must have triggered the one that's called Delete to go public without knowing. Monumental cock up. But what makes it even funnier is that I didn't know that until after I'd published the new one and deleted the delete one. So I didn't even realize that it had been up and called Delete for no real reason until I'd already deleted it. And the reason I know is because, according to my find in search on this page in Google, there are 17 mentions of the word delete, which I thought was very. At first, a few people were commenting. I was like, "What's the deal with this?" And then I was like, "Oh fuck! Oh no! I've made a bit of a blunder." But some of them were very funny. Some were just saying the word delete, which is like, "Oh yeah, good one." But like one guy said, called A New Dawn, saying, "I'm gonna miss delete." So then I replied, "He died as he lived." And then he replied, "Doing what he loved." So that was a good bit of fun. For a couple of them, I was just being really sarcastic and just being like, "Nope, don't know what you're talking about. Never deleted nothing here. Nope, no idea." There was one who just didn't get it. I think I can't find it now. He commented something like, that's the title we've all been looking for, because so he was quite an early commenter, because the title was "There's Always a Bigger Fish," which is a Star Wars reference. He commented that, and at first glance I was like, "Oh yeah, see, he's acknowledging my reference." But then I realized the delete thing, and then commented back, "Nope, this thing was never called delete, never, not once." And then someone else was like, "Well, but no, he's commenting on the Star Wars reference." And I'm like, "Buddy, lucky for you, well, lucky for me, you missed my monumental cock up." But so yeah, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes very regularly. It's how you hide them, which is telling. I didn't hide this one, but it was very funny, and it led to a decent amount of engagement on this video. Let me tell you that there's a lot more comments than there should be.
Cool.
Right, have you managed to come across any decent comments?
I found one, and this is a bit of reaction to yesterday's video where you talked about ads coming into League of Legends, right? And Logan Sullivan makes a point. It's not really an ad you have to sit through, though. It's literally a useless banner with a logo on it. What's the big deal? I can see that point of view.
Yeah, the ads thing's a really interesting one.
But I think that got me the most. The thing, I just want to give my little take on it because I wasn't part of that video. The thing that gets me the most is that the way they try and rationalize it is, this is going to be great for the game. This is going to be great for esports. Yeah. It makes it more authentic. No, it's bollocks. It's all about money. It's about money, money, money. Yeah. All you want is more money. That's literally the reason. 1.7 billion last year is do you know how many monies is billion? It's loads of monies is billion. It's too much money is billions, and you need more money, so you're affecting people's, oh yeah, it's going to be more authentic. Bollocks. It's about money, you greedy shitehouses.
Trying to emulate the energy of sports. The energy of sports is being live in a place, watching people who generally are at their peak physical fitness doing things that we fat slobs could only dream of. This is people this is people playing a video game which certainly requires skill, but it's not I don't think it'll ever have the same energy as real sports, and fixing that problem is not with ads. This ad, I think, is a free-to-play game, so I'm much more forgiving of it, because there's no barrier for entry. The game's monetized to hell anyway, and there's a lot of controversy around that and a lot of criticism to be made at that, certainly. But ads in free-to-play games can be an acceptable way for this game to make money. This game in particular made 1.5 billion last year and 2.9 billion in its peak, which was in 2016, which is an insane amount of money. But million is great. Billion is out of this world numbers.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And I know that some people will be like, oh, but they've got to make money somehow. It's free to play.
They don't need to make that money.
Honey, they don't. This is about more money. But so I think don't take this the wrong way, but the mobile model of some mobile games is, I think, completely fine. Where you do the free version, which has ads that are like a banner along the top, and that's it. And then the paid version gets rid of the ads. The problem is when it's really, really, really over the top and they're blinking and they're unskippable and they get in your way after every little action you do. That's when it's like over the top. And there's certainly a slippery slope, which this could lead to that sort of thing. But as it stands now, a banner with a logo which doesn't say anything on it, it doesn't flash or do anything, I think is fairly innocuous and tolerable. But as I said, it could be a slippery slope. And me accepting this is just them testing the waters and they're going to make it worse later. Yeah, I get that. But right now, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world.
No,
the presence of the ads, the greed of it, that's the problem.
I think the biggest deal is their bullshit justification in my eyes, and that's it. It's like, why lie to people? You can be honest about this and still be held in high regard for it. You don't lose any credit for being honest about this. Like, it's a free game. A lot of people, love the game. And you don't have to bullshit us.
It gives the players more control over to customize their Rift or Arena or whatever it's called. It's fucking ads, mate. It's not customization. It's we're gonna have this MasterCard ad here. We're gonna have this Visa card here. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's just the worst justification I've seen in quite a while.
So let's move on, right? We kind of running short on time. Do you have many more questions? I've got one more that I want to read out.
No, go ahead. I'll have a quick glance, but I don't think I've got anything really.
So we talked in last week's podcast. Logo Seller comments: "Got to respect the way PGG handles spoilers in a considerate manner, even for older gamers." And I think I'd like to read that out because a lot of people are like, well, if you don't know the spoilers, then you can't comment. You don't know what you're talking about. And, as much as we disagree with that, there's a lot of that sentiment from people who are angry about The Last of Us 2 spoilers, whatever. But at least this guy appreciates the tack that we're taking with this. And, we just want to respect people if they want to learn about Last of Us 2 without learning about all the spoilers in the game. They just want to experience the game as it's meant to be played, as we are going to do ourselves. So I thought I'd balance out all the negativity, I guess, with that comment. So we do need to wrap this up pretty quickly. So we're going to move quickly on to the bad dad joke of the week. Henry, did you hear about the 2 TV aerials that got married?
No, I didn't hear about the 2 TV aerials that got married.
The ceremony wasn't great, but the reception was brilliant.
I should have seen that one coming.
And there you go. That is the that is all the segments in this week's podcast. And thanks everybody for listening and watching. If you made it this far into the podcast, then you obviously don't mind the sound of our voices and you enjoy the content. If you do want to support us, just a little reminder, head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, because like I said, every single dollar that is donated really makes a difference. So thanks very much. We will leave it there, and on behalf of Mr. Henry Cooper and myself, we will see you again next time. Bye for now.